The way that I managed to get it fixed was an excruciatingly painful way to do it, but I managed to get it fixed. And don't mind the tractor here on the side. We don't use that tractor for any exercises that I know of yet. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I hope you are doing well. This video is all on knee injuries, how to get rid of knee injuries, how you can go about doing that. It's quite an in-depth video, so stay with me to the end if you can. If you have some time, go and grab some popcorn. Make sure that you're comfortable. Grab a couch if you have nearby. That will help a lot. And yeah, we're going to kind of start off with the basics in this video on kind of what running knee injuries are and kind of how they come about. And yeah, then I'll go slide into a little bit of detail on kind of how it happened for me. I've had running knee injuries before. I've had a whole bunch of different types of injuries during my career as a professional athlete, so it can be great to be able to give this information over to you, how I overcome those injuries as well. And it's going to be quite an interesting journey, so stick with me towards the end. If you're new to the channel, please think about smashing that like button and subscribing if you can. It would be awesome and it will help the channel all so much. So thanks for that disclaimer out the way. Let's head straight on to the main part of this video. Just realized I need to get a different chair because this one makes a lot of noise when I sit down. Don't know if it annoys you, it annoys me a little bit. What is knee pain and how does it come about? So knee pain or patellar tendonitis is quite a horrible running injury. You know, it affects many beginner runners as well as people stepping up their game, lifting their mileage in a really short period of time. So this type of running injury, it is kind of inevitable and it comes to a lot of runners, and it's definitely something you want to try and take care of, something you want to try and fix as soon as you can, because it can last for your entire running career if you don't look after it at the start when it comes about. We're going to go through all the different ways and the reasons why it comes about, as well as how you can go and cure it or how you can go and fix it. It is a lot of a self-help type of thing, so unfortunately you can't just watch this video and it's going to fix itself, which would be nice, but unfortunately, you know, I don't have healing hands with me here on the YouTube channel. So you're going to have to unfortunately watch till the end of this video, take down some notes, pick the phone up, make some calls, and you'll be all right on your way to try and get your patellar tendinopathy or your average knee pain fixed as soon as possible. The reason why knee pain comes about and how you get it, it sounds like a very complicated, complex thing, but in the end of it is actually very simple. And knee pain comes from tight muscles. Those tight muscles then offload onto the tendons of your knee, which joins from your patella, which is kind of your kneecap, down to your shin bone or your tibia, and that gets inflamed. And so once your kneecap or once that tendon becomes inflamed, you start getting knee pain. It can range from it being acute to it being excruciating to the point where you can barely walk. Oh no! And so you definitely want to keep on top of this and you want to try and get it fixed as soon as you possibly can. So let's head on to the reasons why it comes about and how you get it. Runner's knee comes mainly from a lot of load onto your legs. One of the big things you need to look out for is kind of people that change their duration or volume that they do in the week. They ramp it up a hell of a lot. You have a big race coming up, so you think, I need to smash my mileage and get training done. You need to be very careful here because this generally ends up tightening your quads. Once you end up having really tight quads, it ends up pulling your kneecap up a little bit. And this then obviously puts a lot of load on the tendon in your knee, and that's literally where the inflammation can come from. So another way you can get knee pain is by having weak glutes. You're going to be sinking in your hips while you're running. All this load then goes from your hips down to, obviously through your quads, into your knee and down to your ankle. And if you're slightly sinking in your hips, what happens is all that load is going to end up heading down towards your knee. And another one that can lead to running knee injuries, and that is poor running form. So I've got a video up here. I'm not sure which it comes up. It's a form video, top left or right, one of these two, it should pop up. And that's kind of going to give you some advice into running form. If you're a bit of a heel striker or you're landing quite far ahead of your body when you land, what happens is all this load can actually go up, and it can actually end up going up through your kneecap, which can actually end up causing a lot of stiff muscles in your quad, which will end up pulling your kneecap up, causing your patellar tendinopathy or your knee pain. Another way you can also get knee pain is by running shoes. If your running shoes have got very little support or they have too much support, what happens is you might be running slightly skew, your ankles might be running skew, or it might change your running gait a little bit. And if you change your running gait, it can end up, obviously, you can end up having knee pain from that. You know how you've got it. Let's go on to how you can fix it. First week or two, what you want to go and do is you want to do some great stretching. So hip flexor stretching is one of the biggest things I'll say post running. A lot of the time I come back from a run, hip flexors are quite tight. You end up kind of running bent over a tiny little bit like this. You can end up heel striking when you bend over. You want to try and open up your hips. So after your runs, it's extremely important to make sure that you open up your hip flexors. One real important stretch. So generally when I come back from running, I'll end up being in this position for quite a while. Remember to not, you need to actually push from your hips. So you want to push your hips towards the front like this. You want to kind of lean and open up. I can really feel good hip flexor stretcher going on up in here. The one side, you can do it a couple of times and you'll really feel it after your run. It's a real important one I like to do. Kind of keep your hips good and open for after the run. Lean into your hip and try and open up your hip joint. So if your hips are getting really tight, what happens is they sometimes rotate a bit forwards. This obviously makes you run slightly incorrectly, and you really don't want that. So stretching afterwards is a real important thing. As well as before your run, it's always good to do some activating exercises, some stretching, a little bit of mobility as well, some one leg swings as well just before to open up your hip joint. Really does help you to kind of run straighter. The way that I managed to get it fixed was an excruciatingly painful way to do it, but I managed to get it fixed. Deep tissue massage was one of the biggest things that helped me with my knee pain. You can take a foam roller. There's a foam roller there at the back. I'll show you now how I do my foam rolling as well, which is one of the biggest ways to help you fix your knee problems. This one really works. All you need is your trusty TerraBands, your foam roller as well. This one's also down in the description. This black roll one. It's a nice medium density. It's not very hard, so it's great on the quads. It's not too hard. Extremely good for if you have any knee pain is rolling out your quads. So you want to put the foam roller, you want to lean slightly to the right or to the left. You want to find that hard. There's a spot where it's really painful, very tight. When you get to this spot, you can lift your knee up and you can extend your knee like this. And it really does hurt, but pain in your quads is less pain in your knees. So just tell yourself that. And you obviously want to do both legs. Make sure that you try and don't get any imbalances. You roll both sides out equally. And yeah, foam roller definitely really is your friend. Foam rolling your quads, foam rolling your glutes, your calves, all those muscles around the knee joint. This will then release obviously that, and there'll be less inflammation on the kneecap. Some gym work of strengthening your glutes is extremely important. So your glutes, your lateral stability for running is one of the most important things when it comes to fixing your knee pain. There's a couple of gym exercises I'll show you here that I'll go through, some of the most important ones, as well as bands. I'll sometimes use a band. Here's an exercise that I'll usually do. So this one, what you can do from before you start this exercise, you want to try and tighten your abdominal muscles, kind of lower your abs down a bit. You head up here, not overextending, kind of to the right position. You want to put your one leg out, and you want to lift up and you want to lift down. This one really ends up working the glutes, and I find this one really works pretty well. You'll find which leg has got the imbalance when you head on to the other leg. My left leg is definitely the one that's got the weak part or the imbalance, and yeah, this really does end up working your glutes. You'll feel it working here a lot. The most important exercise to do for your knee pain is actually your quad stretch. So this one, make sure that you don't end up being like this. You really want to push your hips forwards, and you can feel the stretch up in here. Kind of hip thrusts from the outside. This one is also really good for strengthening the lines in your legs so that you're not dropping in by the knee. You want to try and keep your legs completely straight as you can. This really does help strengthen your lateral stability, which this part stays strong, your knees will be strong. So let's just get comfortable here. Put a mat out. We can get to some ground exercises as well, which is also very important to try and strengthen your hip joints as well. This one is extremely important, where you come up here, try not to sink down, try and be at a good 90-degree angle with your shoulder. This is kind of the basic one. The more advanced one is obviously where you lift up and you tap down like this. This really does help strengthen your lateral side as well. If you've got a problem with your shoulder and it's not very good, you can also just lie down in this position, and you can also do the one like this from the side, which also really helps with the lateral stability. Another great exercise that you can do as well is one leg squats. So what you want to do with the one leg squat, obviously you don't want to go too far down, because if you've got a sore knee, you're going to be doing one leg squats, it's going to hurt quite a lot, I'm quite sure. So you want to try and not go lean too far with your knee over your foot. You want to keep your foot planted. You want to just act like you're sitting down into a chair, and you go back up again. Sometimes I've got some cracking with my knee. A lot of people have that do a lot of running. And you head down and head back up. And you can really feel that really does work your glutes. So you want to do probably 10 on each leg, maybe two or three sets at least, a couple times a week, and it'll really help. And don't mind the tractor here on the side. We don't use that tractor for any exercises that I know of yet. Okay, so this is some of my least favorite exercises to do. These are the bands that I said, the ones from Black Roll. They're available down below in the description. And what you want to do with these ones is you want to put one band that goes just above your knees, and the other band goes just below your ankles. This exercise, you do a half squat. Remember to keep your back in a completely straight line. Don't reach with your shoulders too much, so straight back. And what you want to do here is keep your heels planted, so don't roll inwards up with your feet. You want to do an external rotation, keep your feet planted on the ground. You can do 10 of those with the right leg, and then you head on to the left leg, and you do 10 of them with the left leg. This really does help strengthen the glutes, strengthen your ass, so you can have less problems with your knees. Oh man, I'm getting so warm. And yeah, I hope that would have helped you guys a little bit on how to kind of get over your knee pain. It is quite an in-depth thing. It's not going to go away on its own, unfortunately. You have to really like dig in deep, and you have to make sure that you put in the time on your gym. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did take something from it, please remember to go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps this video so much, as well as subscribe to this channel down below if you have not done so already. And that is it, how to fix your knee pain. Hope you enjoyed it. Here are further videos I find quite important. So on running form video, this will really help, as well as my strength and conditioning training program that I usually do. These two things, if you do both of these, it'll definitely help your stability, and from that, your stability, you'll probably have less problems with your knees. So thanks for tuning, everyone. Till next time, cheers.
Rocking to my last breath, singing like